10,000 steps to your business. If anyone told you that it was going to take at least 10,000 steps to grow and build and scale your business, would you have taken that first step? I think a lot of people would not have. And that makes me sad because I think everybody should have their own business, at least at some time during their lifetime. I think it's one of the best personal development endeavors you can go on, or journeys you can go on. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about walking and our physical health and well-being, as well as the O in our SOAP framework. O stands for options. This is the framework that we use whenever we're faced with a challenge or a problem or a setback or an obstacle, or if we want to achieve a goal and an objective, because really solving a problem is a goal. So yesterday we identified what area of physical health and well-being for our organization we wanted to work on. We told ourselves and wrote down, I hope you wrote it down, the current story, the current situation, the current result, and we wrote down the desired story, the desired situation, the desired result. What is it that we want? And now that we know where we are and we know what we want, we've got this gap and we need to fill that gap. Well, how do we fill that gap? One step at a time. And the first step in this process is to brainstorm at least 10 possible ways to begin filling that gap. I don't think very many problems get solved the first time you come up with an idea. Maybe there's probably some scientists studying it in some remote lab in America or overseas and getting grant money for that. Doesn't matter. There's probably somebody studying it naturally, statistically figuring out the answer to that question. I don't know the answer, and it doesn't matter, because what we want to do is start focusing on what is possible and how we can fill that gap. I like to use, and I didn't share this in Supersize You, but I'll share it here again, the journalistic framework, I call this. Learned it in high school as editor of my school newspaper, and I actually learned it before then when I was just a reporter for the school paper. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who, what, where, and why, and how is an incredibly powerful framework. We can use it to get the framework and the basics and the facts, just the facts, ma'am. Wouldn't that be nice if reporters still did that? But we're going to do that in our own life because we know how powerful it is. We want to use that as a way to think outside the box and come up with at least 10 possible ways to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And then just put done in the comments below when you've done that, because I want to make sure that we're tracking and that we're getting each of the steps done. They're super simple. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to brainstorm 10 things, we need to talk. Call me and we're going to talk about brainstorming strategies that can help you. Because one of the earmarks of a successful business and a successful founder, owner, entrepreneur is they make decisions quickly. You decide quickly based on your core values and other things we'll talk about. Excuse me. Hold still with me. And so that's the first part of our challenge today. Every month we will cover the SOAP framework. This is the framework I came up with during the pandemic to keep me moving forward, getting up and going every day, even though some days it would have been easier to just sleep in and not do anything. I held myself accountable to a higher standard, and I used that time to create different things that I wanted to have created in my life. The main sacrifice during the pandemic for me, and this is really shallow to say, was my fingernails. I actually had to use the dog grinder to grind off my fingernails because none of the salons were open. Somebody could have made a killing if they just went around and were COVID-free and could go to people's houses and do nails. Maybe somebody did that. I don't know. Nobody in my area. Excuse me. So I said 10,000 steps today because our topic for Supersize You and Supersize Your Business is the impact of 10,000 steps on our health. You can take 10,000 steps a day to health. Now, if you would have asked me in 2010, I would have said, poppycock, nonsense, I don't believe it, I don't buy it. I'm just fine the way I am. Now, the irony is that I had a sudden cardiac arrest and died in 2010 because I wasn't doing 10,000 steps. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't eating right. And I had stress, more stress than I've ever had in my life. There were several areas of my life that were actually blowing up simultaneously. It was not a good time, but taught me a lot, and I'm fortunate enough to still be here today. But I did learn that after that event, a couple of good things happened. I was set up so my businesses were protected, even though I was almost gone. And I was in a coma and in the hospital for a while. And then I had to go through cardiac rehab for 6 months and things. But because I had set things up ahead of time, everything just kind of chugged along like it should. And that helped a lot when it came time to pay medical bills and things. Because, of course, I was woefully unprepared for what a death event costs you as a human being. Which reminds me that we always have contingency plans and we always have insurance and things in place in case of things like that happening, because we cannot predict what's going to happen. We never can. We can plan it. We can move toward it. We can take actions to make sure it happens, but things seldom go. Where's my favorite graphic? I'm not going to grab it, but I have a graphic that I share with people, and they say or are complaining that it's taking longer than it should, or they're not just going up, 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 and up in a certain area or aspect of their business, because that's not the way it happens. If you actually track, and I track certain things nowadays, if you look at them and track them, they look like sawtooth monsters, and that's how life is. If things change, there's so many variables. You want to track them and watch for the trends, but don't expect anything to ever be a straight line from point A to point B. So walking is actually medicine. I learned this after my sudden cardiac arrest. I knew I needed to do things differently. And one of the things I did was I adopted and bought into the 10,000 steps a day minimum philosophy. I don't remember what my highest steps a day ever was, but it was in the probably 20, 30,000 range. But I definitely got my 10,000 steps every day for 8 years. And then I had a health challenge that knocked me off my feet and into bed for a few weeks. So I lost those few weeks, but then I picked it up right along again. Once you do something every day for over a year, it becomes automatic. It's why I believe in annual challenges. And most people would just say, yeah, no. But the truth is, you do things every single day anyway. So if you link the things that make you successful to the things you're already doing every day that are positive habits, might like to clarify, you cannot fail. It is impossible to fail if you do one thing every day to move you toward your goals and objectives. It's impossible. There's no way. It's illogical to even think that it wouldn't be possible if you do one thing every day to become a better version of yourself or to grow and scale and supersize your business. It's impossible to fail. The only way you can fail is if you are blocking yourself on a subconscious level to the degree that's mind-blowing. So 10,000 steps. How does this apply to our businesses? Well, I'll tell you how I use it and have used it and continue to use it in my businesses. Number one, I start my day by going for a walk. In my Italian food business, which was my longest running business prior to my sudden cardiac arrest, never once, not one time, walked down partway across the river on a park called the Dike. And then following my sudden cardiac arrest, every morning, every noon, no matter what the weather, I was walking up and down between there. I think it was probably like a quarter-mile stretch or something. It's not super far, but it got my butt out of the office. It got my brain thinking and operating much more efficiently than it ever operated, just by focusing only on the work and the situation at hand. So I started just walking. Now, it's interesting because in corporate America, I did that all the time. I spent probably more time on the floor than any other managers in manufacturing because I liked it. I always knew what was going on. People knew, liked, and trusted me because they knew if they saw me, maybe I was coming to point out something that was putting their department at risk. Or, some people, certain departments didn't like me and took it the wrong way because it was their responsibility to fix these things and make sure they didn't happen. But for the most part, everybody was pretty glad that I was there and was around. And so there's things you can do to keep moving on the job. Sitting in your office all day will never get you as far physically, mentally, emotionally, career-wise, spiritually, than going out and engaging with the people that are making the business happen. We would do walking meetings. I would have walking phone calls. Most of the time, if I was on the phone for any reason, I was walking. I was moving around. I wasn't just sitting in my desk talking to people on the phone. Standing desks are really popular now. Never had such a thing when I was in corporate America, but they've had them. I actually will do a lot of work on my exercise bike. If people can't tell and don't know, and if they don't mind, then I will be on my exercise bike or walking while I am communicating with other people in different ways, shape, and form. But standing desks are a cool thing. Walking desks, treadmill desks. I cannot, okay, I have bad vision, so I cannot and am not coordinated enough to type and walk at the same time. It's not going to happen. But I can talk and walk at the same time. And now voice technology has gotten so good. I'm exploring some of that. I'm also in an AI class right now because I need to, being legally blind, find some ways to automate the parts of what I do that I don't need to do. I need to show up and make my videos, and I love doing them. I can't believe I'm saying I love doing them, but I do. So I need to do that, but I don't need to be the one that processes and shares those videos, so I can get help doing that and other things. Maybe I'll even get things edited. I doubt it. Not gonna. Just be me. All right, so ask your team. Set up team challenges. Ask people, how can we be a little more active? And the secret is, if you set the example by being more active, people will automatically follow that. Why? Because you're the leader. People like to follow the leader. They do what we do, not what we say to do. Anybody ever learned that lesson the hard way? Absolutely, positively, we all have. All right, so what are we going to do today? We're going to do our brainstorm option list for tomorrow. We're going to use that list tomorrow. And we are going to share in the comments below how many steps you personally commit to getting today. And if you did it, you can say done. If you haven't done it yet, you can say done later, or you don't even have to. Just hold yourself accountable to doing what you say you're going to do, because that sets the best example. All right, if I can help you anyway, hit me up and ask. I have got a 10 o'clock a.m. Central, it's daylight savings time, I guess. I don't know if it's daylight savings time or not. Either standard time or daylight savings time. Today in my Supersize Your Business School community. And I'm talking about a super secret project with one of our members. The project isn't with her, but I'm bouncing the idea off her and see if she thinks I'm crazy or not. All right, if I can help you anyway, free group to join. Love to have you in it. If I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, go out and make it an amazing day. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.